The crowded train screeched to a halt, the metallic roar echoing like a gunshot in the empty station. He had barely caught his balance when a small, trembling voice cut through the chaos. "Can I sit here?" He looked down. A girl, no older than 12, one leg tucked beneath her, eyes wide and wary, stared up at him. Her backpack hung crookedly, and a faint scar traced the edge of her jaw. Every instinct screamed at him to walk away, to ignore her like the world had taught him. But something inside him froze. Her gaze. It was almost like staring into a mirror of lost hope. He hesitated. Then, softly, he said, "Only if you promise not to cry." Her lips quivered. She lowered herself onto the seat beside him, and for a heartbeat, the world shrank to the rhythm of the train, the sway of their breaths, and the storm brewing in his chest. He had been a single dad for 5 years, and life had been nothing but calculation and survival since the accident took her mother away. Every day was a battle against emptiness, against the whispers of guilt that haunted him like shadows at noon. Yet, in that split second, as he watched her clutch the strap of her backpack, he felt the stirrings of something dangerous. Hope. "You shouldn't be out alone," he said, his voice gruff, hiding the tremor of a man who'd faced more pain than he deserved. I like trains," she whispered, and for a moment, the courage in her small voice cut through the armor he had built around himself. The journey began in silence. But silence, in its own way, is deafening. And in that deafening quiet, memories clawed at him. The night his daughter cried herself to sleep because he couldn't save her. The nights he lay awake wishing he could undo the world's cruelty. Her name was Lily. A tragic accident had taken her leg, and with it, it seemed every opportunity for childhood joy. But her spirit was not broken. It was merely bent, like iron forged in fire. By the time the train rattled into the next station, he knew he could not walk away. Not from her. Not from the fire he saw in her eyes. "Why are you helping me?" she asked suddenly, looking up at him with that raw honesty that only children can carry. He swallowed hard. "Because someone once helped me when I had nothing left, and I promised I'd do the same for someone else." Tears welled in her eyes, and she looked away, ashamed, confused by the sudden warmth that had invaded the cold chambers of her heart. Days turned into weeks. He became her protector, her anchor in a world that had tried to shatter her. But life, as it always does, had other plans. One evening, as they walked past the old pier, she froze. Across the street, a man in a tailored suit, slick, confident, radiating cruelty, watched them. His presence made the air thick with threat. "Lily," the man called, his voice sweet poison. "You didn't think you could escape, did you?" It was her father, the man responsible for the accident that had cost her her leg. The same man who had abandoned her in the hospital. The same man who had laughed when her dreams shattered under his negligence. Time slowed. His heartbeat roared in his ears. He could feel Lily trembling beside him, clinging to his coat like a lifeline. And in that moment, he realized the world had given him one shot, not just to protect her, but to make sure justice was served. He stepped forward, calm but dangerous, his eyes burning with a storm that had taken years to build. "Stay back," he warned, his voice low, sharp as a blade. The man smirked, dismissing him as weak. "Or what? You'll lecture me? You're just a single dad playing hero." The words ignited something primal. He lunged, not with fists, but with cunning, exploiting every weakness he knew, the arrogance, the blind confidence. The fight was quick, brutal, and precise. Every strike, every move was fueled by years of anger, guilt, and love for the girl beside him. By the time it was over, the man lay defeated, humiliated in front of the pier where life had first tested him. Lily's eyes were wide, her chest heaving, but for the first time, she smiled, not a timid smile, but one born of triumph. He knelt beside her, hands steadying her trembling form. "You see," he whispered, "no one can take your strength away." Tears streamed down her face, a torrent of emotion she had held back for years. She threw her arms around him, and for a moment, the world was silent. The train station, the pier, the accidents, the cruelty, they all disappeared. "You saved me," she sobbed, voice breaking. "Not just from him, from everything." He shook his head, a small wry smile forming. "No, Lily, you save yourself. I just helped you remember you could." From that day on, the world seemed to tilt differently. The shadows of the past still lingered, but they no longer dictated her life. And he learned that sometimes the strongest revenge isn't hatred or destruction. It's in raising someone, nurturing their spirit, and letting them shine brighter than the darkness that tried to consume them. The first time she ran on two prosthetic legs, he cheered louder than anyone, tears blurring his vision. And though the world could never undo the pain, it had given him Lily, a one-legged girl who taught him that hope could triumph, that love could heal, and that sometimes the most devastating blows could be answered not with anger, but with courage. As they walked toward the sunset, the city glowing around them, he realized one thing: revenge had been served, not with violence, but with life, resilience, and the unbreakable bond they now shared. And in her eyes, he saw the reflection of every tear he had ever shed turn into a promise. They would never let cruelty define them again.